Recruiter here to review your resumes. And this is a resume of a software engineer fresher that is struggling to get interviews. And I'm here to tell them if their resume is good or garbage, and if it's garbage, how to fix that resume so that they can get a 1 in 7. What's a 1 in 7? The 1 in 7 is how you can tell if your resume is good or garbage. It's the ratio. For every 50 applications you send, you should get 1 interview. That is the rule. For every 50, a mid, like C- resume will get 1 interview. That is the ratio. And when people follow my advice, they get 1 interview per 7 applications, with a little bit of an asterisk. If it's fully remote, it's 1 in 20. If it's an international, it's 1 in 90 to 1 in 100, because that's how tough that market is. But this person said that it takes them over 150 applications to get a single interview. So I'm expecting this resume to be garbage. So what did they tell me? They said, I'm a recent grad and I'm having a lot of trouble getting any feedback from the applications. Yeah, most companies don't really give feedback, sadly. It's just not what they do anymore. I've been applying to entry-level software engineer roles, data scientist roles, and AI engineering roles. So that is your first problem. If you are applying for a software engineer role, you need to pick a stack. Software engineer hiring is stack based. Also, I'm aware that data scientist is not technically in software engineers, but they said it, so I'm putting it up on the list. If you do not pick a stack, which is full stack, backend, Python, backend, Java, backend, C#.NET, or front end, or AI engineer, which I forgot to list, then you are going to get rejected, because a phenomenal full stack resume will get you rejected from a back-end Python role and will get you rejected from a front-end role. That is just how it works. So I am picking a stack for them. The most common stack is full stack. So this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to look for. But Lee, what if they're not a full stack engineer? Well, too bad. That doesn't matter. You need to pick a stack and you need to have me review it based on that stack. So what do we need for a software engineer? Full stack. We need degree, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Look at me. I know what you're about to say. I know it. I know what you're about to say. You're like, Lee, but everybody has that. Lee, that's so basic. How can you have TypeScript without... I don't care. I don't care. The basics have been getting people jobs for the last decade. You know what gets accountants jobs? If they put Excel on their resume. You know what gets nurses jobs? If they put, well, basically anything. But when the market was bad, when they put how to draw blood and do basic nursing stuff. Basic skills get you jobs, not the advanced stuff, the basic boring stuff. And if it's not on your resume in a bullet point, we are going to assume it does not exist. So TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, I don't care if you hate that, you need it to get a job. Then RESTful API or REST API, SQL, any of them, Cloud, any of them. Then I need a backend. Then I need React or React Native, Git, GitHub, CI/CD, Agile, DevOps, and extra credit for all that other stuff. So let's see if this resume is in fact good or garbage. Spoiler alert, it's garbage because they get 150 to 1, which is how you can tell. So 20 seconds is on the clock because that is the only amount of time that recruiters have to actually view your resume. And go. Okay. Design to develop in Angular, Hot Dog, kind of, TypeScript good, Python, Fast API, Hot Dog, AWS, Docker, and GitHub, enable to securely access company knowledge through responsive interface and operational. What do you mean by that? Built and deployed in end-to-end. Time. Well, we don't see it this much on the channel, but this is the case of a resume that has the keywords but doesn't have the qualifications. So this is why you don't want to keyword stuff. So what is a keyword? A keyword is just what the hiring team needs, right? This is what the manager wants. This is what the manager gets. If it's not on the resume, we assume it doesn't exist. So what you want to do is, like I said, there is a difference between a keyword and a qualification. A qualification is a keyword plus how you did it, plus why you did it that is understandable to a layman, aka your grandparent, and where you did it. And this is a problem of a resume that is keyword stuffed, and you don't want to do that. That actually lowers your chances. So part of the problem with this is each bullet point needs a minimum of 3, a maximum of 6 keywords. Anything less than 3 and your bullet point shouldn't exist. Anything more than 6 and you need a different bullet point because this is just too much information, that they are going to miss it. Also, you included some stuff that is just not relevant to what I'm looking for, which is a hot dog. So imagine that you're hungry, you go to a restaurant, I would like a hamburger, please. And the waiter says, all right, honey, coming right up. Let me get you a hamburger real quick. You want anything else other than that hamburger? You say, nope, that is it. Strangely Southern person in Southern California. So they go back and they bring you a plate of 3 hot dogs and they say, here's your hamburger, sir. And you say, these are hot dogs. I wanted hamburgers. And the waiter says, well, I assure you, sir, these are the best hot dogs you have ever had south of the Mississippi. I swear to you. And if you really think about it, a hot dog is just a hamburger because a hot dog has meat like a hamburger. A hot dog has buns like a hamburger. And a hot dog can, in fact, have ketchup, mustard, pickles, and onions just like a hamburger. So when you wanted a hamburger, what you really meant were these hot dogs, which I assure you are the best hot dogs you have ever had in your life. And you would say, I don't want that. I'm leaving. I wanted a hamburger. And that is the exact same thing with this. That is a hot dog. Angular, hot dog. Fast API, hot dog. The rest, Docker, weirdly enough, hot dog. So you need to be specific. In fact, even if you remove those, there's still too much. And you know what I don't see? I don't see HTML and CSS. I see TypeScript and JavaScript. I don't see HTML and CSS, and they're going to ask for it. And you're going to be like, Lee, what are you talking about? It's right under here. Well, I didn't get to it in 20 seconds because this resume is filled to the brim with so many keywords and technically dense that you cannot find what you need. And that is a big problem with this. Plus, I assume this person is applying with this resume to non-full stack roles as well, which is also a problem. So what I would like you to do is fix this first sentence for sure. You need 3 keywords minimum, 6 maximum. I want you to say designed a full stack application using TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Python in an AWS environment. Where, and then you will tell me what you did, because I don't know what you mean by enabling employees to securely access company knowledge through responsive interface and improving operational efficiency across business teams. What? Why? What do you mean? What did you do? Was this like a app that just contained all the knowledge of the company? Was this a single click button that told them not to do something if there was a phishing attempt? I don't know, because you got so in the weeds of this that you tried to tell me why it was impressive rather than tell me what it was. And I don't know what this knowledge base is. What was the point of the knowledge base? I get to improve operational efficiency, but what did it do? I don't know. When you're hiring engineers, you want to know what they did. And I don't know what this person did besides make a full stack web application that had knowledge, but knowledge is not a good description of what you did. So the first sentence fails because it has too many keywords, a couple of hot dogs, and the why they did it is incomprehensible. And that was as far as I got because of how technically in-depth this is, which is part of the problem. Also, formatting-wise, you want to use this. This is what it should look like. This is how you do it. It's in the description below. But then let's go to here. Built and deployed end-to-end customer support and internal business applications. That still tells me not a lot. Using Angular, again, hot dog, plus you already mentioned it. There it is, HTML, CSS, which should have been the first one. TypeScript, you already mentioned it. Python, you already mentioned it. Fast API is a hot dog. Node.js is a hot dog in this case. I'm going to count that as extra credit. Node.js is extra credit. RESTful APIs, you already mentioned. PostgreSQL, you already mentioned. So this actually only has 2 keywords in it because you do not want to repeat them in the same job. It is okay to say Python. Let me mark it. Python here, right up here, good. Python down here, bad. Python down here, good. You only want to mention the same keyword once per job. You can mention it in different jobs, that's fine, but once per job is the rule. They did not follow that, and thus this does not count. So besides HTML and CSS, this only has 2 things that I'm looking for. And let's see if their why is good. Integrated backend services, business workflow. No, I still don't know what you did. This could be anything. What do you mean you integrated backend services by automating business workflows? What workflows? Did you make it so Bob could send an email quickly? honestly, I don't know. You didn't tell me. And if you do not tell me, I'm going to assume that you didn't do it, because that is what people try to do. They try to sneak in a bunch of stuff and overinflate their experience. And part of our job is to say, well, if they did not directly state what they did, they are inflating their experience and you are going to go bye-bye. Let's see. Is there anything here? GraphQL? No. Angular? Angular again could be a again, Angular could be extra credit, but I'm still going to count as a hot dog for this because they didn't have the rest of it. So like, did I have React? I don't see React. I think I did see GitHub. I don't see Agile. I don't see CI/CD. And most importantly, I don't know what you did. I've read these 3 bullet points and I have no earthly idea what you did. To upload business documents, present structured insights through interactive dashboards, and improve decision making. What decision making? Why did they need to upload documents? What were the documents for? I do not know. You did not tell me. This is why your resume is garbage. Is because A, you are applying for multiple job titles with the same resume. That is a big no-no. No. You want one resume per job title you make, and you need to make it. You take about 15 job descriptions that are good, which my guide shows you how to find, and then you create the keyword list for that and make a resume based on that. That is your job title resume. Then you do not touch it. You just send it out to other people. So this would definitely fail for a Python role. This would definitely fail for a back-end Java. This would fail for an AI engineer. This might maybe get an interview or two for a full stack. Although still, you don't tell me why you did anything, which is definitely hurting your chances. And remember, skill sections don't count. Again, I need to know what you did, how you did it, why you did it, and where you did it. So none of this matters. So, again, why this resume is garbage. They are applying for multiple roles. The formatting is awful. Their resume is keyword stuff to the point where I can't actually find the things that I'm looking for. And they do not tell me the qualifications. And they have a bunch of hot dogs. Those are the 5 reasons this resume is garbage. But again, it doesn't have to be. Take my tips, improve upon it, make it a 1 in 7, because that is what I can get people, is a 1 interview per 7 application. So we've got more resumes coming right up. What they are, I don't know. I picked them randomly from a wheel on my live stream. So if you want your resume reviewed, you can join my live stream and type !raffle. I am live streaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter and right here on YouTube. And to my members, I just want to say, thank you so much. I could not do this without you. Your membership allows me to keep this channel alive, and without your membership, I don't think I could really do this channel. So thank you for keeping this channel alive. And if anybody wants to join, they get access to my past live streams on YouTube, and they get access to videos earlier than anybody else. So thank you very much to my members for keeping this channel alive, and let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of another full stack software engineer. This person said, I desperately need a job and grill me like a chicken, which I've never heard anyone say, but it made me laugh. So I will roast this as much as I can. I don't know if their ratio is accurate or not, but let's find out what is good and garbage about this resume. So we already know what we're looking for right here. Let's see what is working. So 20 seconds on the clock and go. Okay, good, almost. Good. Okay, built production ready web features with what? It's not a description. Develop node, service through process application data. Why? An integrated AI workflow with REST to support automated user interaction. Why? And used Git and Agile to manage code, debug, communicate technical updates with team. Why? Okay, so my big problem with this is not the formatting. They almost did the formatting very well. The only thing is these should be in the same line. If the GitHub doesn't fit, that's fine. Just put GitHub, right? And I know there's a phone number here, but this should be in the first line. Because if you note it's LinkedIn and portfolio, you should still be able to fit all of them in. And if you have a shortened hyperlink for your LinkedIn, that's fine. It's okay. That's okay. Same with GitHub. So that's a very minor issue, though. The big issue here is these bullet points. Also, there's a little bit too big of a gap here and here. These, if you look, these are crunched up a little bit more. So there's too big of a gap in there and there. But those are very minor issues and are not why this resume is bad. The big reason this resume is bad is, well, they don't tell me what I need and their whys are awful. So I will grill them like a chicken. Such a funny phrase. All right. So build production ready web features. Okay, with TypeScript, JavaScript, Node, React, and REST APIs. Again, remember, Node is a bit of a hot dog. Again, it can kind of be extra credit, but extra credit goes after you have the rest of it. Where's HTML and CSS? I don't know. I don't see it. But the bigger problem here also is for multiple user-facing platforms. What platforms? What did those platforms do? Why was it important that you built production-ready web features? I don't know. You didn't tell me. I want you to remember Bob, okay? Bob is your manager. Bob is the one that controls your money. Bob is the one that can determine if you are hired, fired, or get a raise. Bob cannot turn on their email. Not send an email. Bob needs their assistant, Susan, to send an email for them because they cannot get the computer to work right. And they go with little pecks like that instead of actual typing. Bob is who you need to write this for. And if Bob saw built production-ready web features with TypeScript, JavaScript, React, and RESTful API for multiple user-facing platforms, Bob would be like, what platforms? What were those things doing? What is production-ready web features? Why is that important? Where is Java? Where is HTML and CSS? I don't know. I'm not going to move forward with them. Develop Node.js, again, hot dog. Backend services for SQL-backed API. SQL is good, but the API is a hot dog. Workflows to process application data. Why? Why was that important? I want you... Okay, so I want you to remember this scale, okay? At the very bottom of this is the deep, deep technical issues that you did it for. This is the incredibly technical issues that you can talk about with your peers about what you did. At the very top, this is why people hire you, which is to make money or save money. I need your explanation to be here. I don't want you to tell me that you made money and saved money. I want to know why you did what you did for the business and why it mattered so that they can assume why you made money or saved money. And I don't see that. I don't know what you did. You built a web feature? Cool. What web features? For what websites? What was the type of it? Look, I know you're not actually at Dunder Mifflin, but like, was it a paper company? Was it a B2B company? Was it a B2C company? Was it a SaaS company? I don't know. You didn't tell me. The industry can actually matter there. And then here, it's just the only thing I see is SQL. And that's not enough to make a full sentence because that's only one keyword. So there's one keyword. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 here. There's 0 here because you already said REST API. And then there's 2 here. And why is it that you have 7 keywords over 4 bullet points for a job you've only done for 3 months because it was an internship? I don't know. You didn't tell me. You need to dig through this. What about Git? What about Agile? What about DevOps? What about HTML and CSS? I don't know. What about cloud, right? And you may not have cloud, but if you have cloud, it's very beneficial to put. And the problem I have here is you did not explain this to Bob, and Bob will pass on this resume. Bob controls the money. I'm sorry. There are hundreds of millions of Bob. Well, not that many. There are thousands of Bobs in the workplace, and you will always meet a Bob, and you need to be able to explain to Bob what you did, why you did it, in a way that they will understand it. Not your peers, not your teachers, your grandparents who can't turn on the computer. That is who you need to write it for, and this is not written for that. And even if it was written for it, I still don't have enough to move you forward. I am missing HTML and CSS. I'm missing cloud. I'm missing Git or GitHub. I am missing CI/CD, I'm missing Agile, and I'm missing DevOps. And I need 75% to move you forward, and you have about 60%. So closing in on it. So that is why you are struggling to get a job. And the same thing continues to here. There is nothing in this that I need or care about. Led a forcing team with React, JavaScript, Rich. This is good. But why? What did you do here? I don't know. Why did you lead them? What was the importance? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Again, you don't tell me here. These whys are terrible, and the resume with better whys gets interviews more than the resumes with more keywords. I need you to remember you are talking to somebody that cannot turn on your computer, and it needs to make sense to them. They need to be able to find that. Next resume. This is a resume for an AI engineer role. This person is looking for an AI engineer role. That is what they said. Currently pursuing their degree, final year, worked at a startup while in college. So let's see what is good or bad about this resume. Also, I want to make a quick note about this. Is right here. You are graduating. It is both the one of the best and worst times to graduate. The job market goes in cycles in the US at least. I imagine it would be close to the same outside the US, but in the US, September is a slight boost in jobs, while November, December, there's nothing. So there's almost no jobs in November, December. Now, I don't know if that holds true in India. But I will say my advice does work in India. Just I don't know if this particular one doesn't. I've gotten people jobs in the US, Canada, Mexico, India, Africa, the UK, the EU, and I believe Singapore as well. So my advice works globally. But I don't know if the industry standard of less jobs in November, December is equivalent in other places. So what do we need for an AI engineer role? We need basic understanding of software engineering. So Python, TypeScript, JavaScript, React, SQL, Git, Cloud API. You don't need all of those. You just need some of those. Basic AI. So AI, ML, RAG, Gen AI, Agentic AI, AI, ML, AI tools, Git, Chat, GPT, GitHub, Copilot, LangGraph, or LangChain. Then I need to see that you can explain technical concepts to non-technical people. This is massive. Remember, Bob controls your paycheck. If Bob does not understand what you do, you will fail. And in your resume, you need to prove that you can talk to Bob. So I need to see that these are very simple and easy to understand. Otherwise, you are immediately proving to me that you cannot explain technical concepts to non-technical people. And then we need to see that you take that's an old one. That one can be ignored. That was not part of that. So that is what we are looking for. So 20 seconds on the clock. Let's see if they've got it. And go. Formatting's awful. Built and ran the back end for an AI concierge assistant. Okay, the chats with this doesn't matter. And books things like flights and hotels using Python and LangChain. Okay, that's okay. Built and orchestrated a multi-step AI workflow and LangGraph. You already mentioned this. This is not a keyword. The CRM members the CRM conversation. This has no keywords. Built a time. So formatting's off. Remember, you want it to look like this, not this, this, not this. This should be italicized. Then down here, this is not the worst sentence, right? Built and ran the backend for an AI concierge assistant that chats with users. I don't care about the number of users, that's irrelevant. And books things like flights and hotels for them. That's okay. I would prefer the keywords to be in the first half of the first sentence. But my big problem with this is the only thing I've seen in about 2 to 3 sentences with this is LangGraph, AI, and Python. Which, that's it. That's all I see. I don't see that you can I can kind of see that you can actually explain technical concepts to non-technical people. It's just I need more. Like, why is it you've been at this job for about a year, brain's not working, year and a half or so, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullet points, and the only things I've ever found were 3 things max, right? Python, LangGraph, AI, and that's it. Why are there so many bullet points for so little content, right? So I like the principle behind this, but I'd rather you rephrase your first one as built and ran a multi-agent AI concierge assistant using Python, LangGraph, and maybe 1 or 2 other things. So it could chat with users and book flights and hotels for them. That is how I want you to phrase that. Then the second one is, I don't know, because you didn't really, there's nothing there, right? Like, again, you didn't say agentic AI, which you really should have, because LangGraph implies multi-agent systems, which you really, really should have just been very explicit about. They may not know this is multi-agent work, which is exactly the kind of stuff that they love, is multi-agent in the infrastructure. But you didn't make it very clear to Bob. So, and then there's just nothing here, right? Like, none of these are keywords. None of these are things I want. There's nothing here except RAG. There's nothing here. And then there's Google Cloud and CI/CD. So again, you have like maybe 2 bullet points worth of content. I want you to make a third, and I want it to be related to this. And stop with the bolding. The bolding is bad. Stop with the bolding. But I want you to be explicit. A lot of people say I don't know about tech, and yeah, I'm a recruiter, even if I'm a tech recruiter. But the fact that you use LangGraph over LangChain implies that you've done multi-agent system work, and I can almost infer that you've done the back-end infrastructure for multi-agent systems. I want you to be specific if you've done that. I want you to say, built the back-end infrastructure for multi-agent systems using LangGraph, Python, something, right? And then a little bit more. And then the problem also I have is, remember, what the AI is the only number I actually care about. I need to know how many users you had per week, because 1,000 users in a month is nothing. 1,000 users in a day is 1,000 users in a minute is a little bit more impressive. 1,000 users a second is insane. I have no context to see if this is important because I don't know this. If it's anything over a day, then I wouldn't even include the number of users. But yeah, you need to be very explicit if this is a multi-agent system work, because that's hot right now. And I would have to infer it, but there's also a chance that I'm wrong. So this is the type of resume that most other people would pass on. I would send them an email and be like, hey, let's do a quick 15-minute chat, because it could be you do have it, you don't, but not everybody would do what I did. So you need to be more explicit. You need more of these things, and you need to be very clear about multi-agent systems, because that's the hotness right now. Next, resume. This is a resume of a cybersecurity analyst. So this person says, I have not gotten any interviews except for 1 at Sony and 1 at a compliance firm. Probably have done 200 plus applications. Did bug bounties for many companies that aren't even listed, and many local ones in my area, despite having most of the keywords that are being said in the spreadsheet. Also, I don't know if people can hear it. My dog is going crazy in the background. So if you see some weird noises, that's him. Bear, I don't know what you're doing, buddy. So yeah, well, let's see why this is getting 0 interviews. One thing I want to note is, before I even start, this one, you want an explanation. The problem is people may not know how easy it is to reactivate it. Is reactivating it a handshake? Or is reactivating it a 20-month long process? The answer is, I don't know, but you're going to have to explain it to us. That is actually what you want a very brief summary to be. So what do we need for a security analyst, cybersecurity? We need a lot. You don't need everything in this list, but you probably do need at least 1 or 2 keywords from each section. So degree, industry, clearance, certs. I'm not going to read all the certs. If I see you have a cert, you're good. Security regulations, so NIST, ISO, HIPAA, etc. Python, PowerShell, CM tools, threat detection, incident response, GRC, Archer, and then can communicate security risks clearly to non-technical stakeholders through reports or verbally. Then Jira or Jira, for some reason, I wrote twice. I don't know why I did that. Meter attacks, I don't know how to pronounce that. Meter attacks, cloud, and AI. So remember, we only need about 75% of this, maybe one or two from each section of the list. I'm not looking for all of these in a single bullet point. So 20 seconds is on the clock. And go. Okay. What is this? All right, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Performed application security using burp, identify data, but why? Discover misconfigured endpoints. This doesn't matter. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. Authored. Okay, NIST. But, okay. Yeah, I understand why you're getting nothing. So, couple of things here. Couple of things on the date, actually, I want to say before I go anything else. What do you mean summers 2020 and 2025? Were you an intern or a software engineer? I don't understand your like trajectory here. Were you a intern for 5 years, or were you an intern for 1 or 2 and then became a software engineer, or were you an intern for both of those? And why is it that you were a lead analyst after being an intern? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm a little confused by that timeline. But my bigger problem with this resume is like there's literally it's blank. Why do I care about any of this? I don't care about this. I can't use anything here. Remember, if it's in a skills section, it might as well not exist. It is a black hole in your resume that sucks all of the talent away. Then this, again, why do I care about the dean's list? I care that you did just graduate. Why is this a lead? Right? And then down here, there's nothing I need. Not a single thing I need here. I think maybe NIST was the only one I saw. So why is this even on here? I don't need it. Also, you were there since August 2025 as a lead developer when you didn't even graduate. I don't understand that. That makes me think you're hiding something. But I don't need any of this. So, like, what do you mean you authored SSPs under NIST supporting A&A that achieved ATO? Software engineers, if you want to know what your resume reads like, it's this. Every single bullet point reads like authored 3 to 5 system security plans under NIST RUMPF supporting AA activities that achieved ATO. I don't know what that is. I don't know any of that. Validated DISA for false positives. That's not what I need. You know what I don't see? I don't see you have any certs. I don't see you did any security regulations besides NIST. I don't see that you can use Python or PowerShell. I don't think that you've done SEM tools, threat detection or incident response or GRC or Archer. Like, this list is massive right here, and you've done almost none of it. I don't see any of it. Why do I not see it? And you know what I really don't see? That you can communicate technical details to non-technical stakeholders. If a non-technical stakeholder, if you tried to tell a non-technical stakeholder, I authored 3 to 5 system security plans, SSP, under NIST, supporting AA activities that achieved ATO, you know what they would say? They'd say, I'm going to talk to your boss because that makes no sense. I need you to explain it to me. That makes no sense. This was written for an audience that does not exist. And you need to be very explicit with these things. Just like the software engineer prior, you need to be explicit. The only things I see are MITR and NIST, and maybe Python, which I missed, and nothing else. And it's very clear that you wrote this for an audience that doesn't exist. It needs to be written for Bob, or it doesn't need to be on your resume at all. Next resume. This is a resume of a AI engineer. I had to redo this video. So to save you all some time real quick in the 20 seconds, this is an okay sentence. I think it's a little long, right? And I'd rather you put the REST APIs and the Python in the first half, but at least it saves some time, right? At least it tells me what you did. Then this was okay-ish. Like, I'm kind of iffy on this one, but the big problem with this resume is not that they don't have the qualifications. It's that they're only getting bad contracting roles. So we want to try to get them away from contracting roles. And the biggest issue with this is going to be the dates of employment. So first off, we want to remove the founder, then we have the projects, and then we have the education and certs. And let's see, I'm a little confused because it sounds like you haven't graduated yet, which if that's the case, then this doesn't really matter. But what I would do if you're having trouble is don't mention contract here, right? Don't mention contract here. We don't do that. Then don't mention this. Then don't mention this because that's only a short stint. And then I wouldn't even mention July to September. If this was an internship, I would put this below it. So I would break this into the internship and the non-intern. Otherwise, I would probably leave this blank because, again, it looks bad. Remember, you want an easy to read history, and it weirdly enough looks better to just show February 2026 to present compared to that. My big concern is you haven't graduated yet, which is probably why you have an issue with that. I'm trying to see if they did anything else because you have technology and AI is 20 and 28, which truthfully that might be the big reason. Is the reason you're getting contract jobs is you haven't graduated. But otherwise I would remove these and keep it simple and quick. And then again, we don't do this. We just do big Eurobank for an AI engineer, which I know that seems painful, but part of the problem is the pattern. And managers will see you continuously doing contract roles, and they will say, well, they don't want a full-time role, which I disagree with, but sometimes you can't win that argument. So you need to prove to them that there's not a history of contract roles, and the way to do that is to scrub your history of those contract roles. In fact, you could keep no, because they're all short-term. And the reason that's the problem is they're all short-term. So you probably only want to keep one and then act like that is not a contract role and then apply from there. But until you get your degree, it probably won't matter. But once you get your degree, I would do this for the rest of them, right? Just immediately remove everything that isn't the last job. So that way it's like, oh, you've only been here for a month or two. In fact, that actually looks pretty bad too. Oh man, this work history is rough. Yeah, that way it only looks that you were there for like a month or two, and then you're looking for something, and that means something maybe has gone wrong or the company has gone under. That's fine. But the big thing here is the pattern. And if a manager sees a pattern of X and that is not the pattern of X that they want, they will decline it. And it is very difficult for a recruiter to win that argument. So we want to remove the pattern of contract roles and just show one. Although again, Jimothy, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of luck until you graduate. So that is it for this video. I just want to thank everybody for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. And to my members, thank you very much for your support. I could not do this without you. You are the reason this channel is existing. So if you want to support this channel, you can join in the link below. You'll get access to videos early and you'll get access to the past live streams. So thank you very much to my members. But if anybody ever needs more help, they can always join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And yeah, type in !raffle in the chat to get your chance at getting a review. And with that said, I'll see you in the next resume.